Thrand here.
Hi, this is Eldgrim.
And we're here with a viewer reply. We had people who actually wanted to see the Kurkri against Gambeson. And it is a curved edge. Curved edges are famed for being good against cloth and fibrous materials where they can cut.
Yeah, you know what? I like that idea too for the Kurkri for this episode, because later when we come back with axes, this kind of bridges the gap between sword and axe.
Oh yeah, most certainly it does. But like I said, it's a forward curvature. It's the only blade that we've got that's a lot like a Kopish, Falcata. It's a Kurkri.
Yep.
So we thought that that would be a good blade. It was a good suggestion. It's just not a huge blade, but we'll see if it does it. I mean, I doubt it's going to do a lot, but who knows? It might.
Yeah, I mean, we get surprised a lot on our show, so you never know.
And it looks like you can hit with quite a bit of the tip, and that was one of the things we discovered in the other video with my 10th century Viking blade from Medieval Shop. There's people who complained we did not cut paper, and we didn't. And I even hit a brick beforehand, which later I realized that the blade was damaged in that video. Plus, it's been used a lot, so this blade was not quite up to par.
Well, yeah, that
might have had
brick
some
may have
better
done a
cuts.
little. Yeah, that brick may have dulled you a little.
Oh, it did, and I'm saying that we've been using it to cut all sorts of stuff. Rolled wet newspaper, other mediums, our gel heads with the hard skulls and bone.
Yeah, it's been through a lot
I had
already.
not realized that, yes, although it feels sharp, it's not all the way up to par. So we have resharpened this blade. Mm-hmm. We're here with my katana. That's my Musashi Katana. It's one they used to make nicer katanas. I mean, now they have a lot of cheaper knockoffs. This is one of the more high dollar ones from earlier back in the day. I don't think they make the model anymore.
I don't think so. I think
yeah, it's a very good blade. I mean, I really love the material. I mean, some people might laugh at me and think that it's not as high quality as you can get, but it's still, for what it is, it's always performed well, and it's kept a very good edge.
Oh yeah,
very, very sharp.
It has proven itself in a number of videos.
Most certainly. But today we'll test out the cast blow with this again. We'll do some push cuts and draw cuts.
We'll do that with all three of these blades.
We have a limited amount of Gambeson material.
Also, we have a limited number of our plastic jugs, too.
Right, so we were thinking about doing more blades for you today, maybe even mixing the axes in, but it's probably not a good idea. We're going to do what we can get done today.
Let's prove that they're sharp before we head out. So, see, start, I guess, with the khukuri. So,
nice.
Khukuri is fairly sharp and ready to go. Wow.
I'm glad. Most certain.
And now, with the katana, would you like to do the honors, Thrand?
Oh, sure. Have a sharp blade here.
Go. Nice. Nice. Very, very sharp.
Well,
Awesome.
Let's get started now.
Now it's time for the rampage.
No.
Rampage! A little help here?
Okay, I'm here with the Medieval Shop Kurkri. Some people said that it cut through cloth easily in some of their tests. So we're going to try first with a draw style cut, and I'm going to push and pull and see if I can cut through the Gambeson or how easily. Oh. We got a cut through the outer material. That's what it looks like we got. It didn't make it through the secondary layer of padding, which is more cloth layers under that. But that's all I got from that amount of push. Let's try a little more force on it. Same thing, we just got through the outer layer of cloth, that was it. It didn't go all the way through. We have changed out our Gambeson to a fresh one, but it's got a slightly different texture to the cloth than we used last time. And what I want to do is try with the Viking sword just in a draw and a push cut to see if it's able to cut the first layer, because it wasn't last time in the video with the cloth. So let's see what happens. Whoa! We actually went through a couple of layers. So this stuff material is not quite as tough as what we had in the other video. Yeah, it's going through like 2 layers, a layer of padding and a layer of cloth compared to the Kurkri. Because we have a much longer edge cutting, but it is not anywhere going near to the bottle. It's not even close to cutting. Okay, we have the famous katana, and it has a beautiful edge. The sword is a Musashi. It's one of the older models when they made a little bit more expensive models that were higher quality. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. I'm going to try the push cut and see how far I can cut into it. We already saw with the Viking sword doing a push cut. I didn't get as deep as I did with the Viking sword. Let's try again. I'm going to try a draw cut, drawing motion. Much deeper. We actually got all the way through one layer, some padding, and into another layer of cloth. Actually, a little bit more than that.
I think the weight difference.
It's the curvature. I think it has something to do with the way the edge is actually aligning on the, and possibly the handle and everything else. But no, we didn't get into the bottle. We'll have to change out our Gambeson here, but it gives us an idea what kind of cut it got. And yes, curved swords are supposed to cut cloth better, so it kind of makes sense.
We've already tested the Kurkri on draw and pulling style cutting motions on this medium. Now we're going to try it with the hacking or chopping motion to see what this can do.
I'll try to catch it. Just the tip. Let's cut the fabric. Hey, stop. We got some fabric cuts.
Yeah, but they're not reaching the bottle.
Yeah, you were getting fabric cuts.
The way of the camera.
One made it all the way through but didn't cut the bottle. She had to hack it. They were doing something. It almost made it. We've got it all the way to the bottle, but it didn't actually cut into the bottle. But we made it through all the fabric with the very tip of the blade. So that's impressive for such a small blade. I'm very impressed. Of course, this Gambeson isn't quite up to par of the stuff we tested in the other video, but it's still amazing. That's a lot of layers. And we got almost through here, but not quite. Not bad. I think it was just the idea of the tip cutting into it. No, you did cut it. Look. I don't. But it would have cut all the way in if you didn't have a relief cut up here to let the pressure out. You understand what happened? It moved in further than it should have. So technically, the Kurkri could actually go through Gambeson. That's pretty fucking cool. The shape of it actually allowed it to. Okay, we have the katana here. It's a very nice quality katana, and we're going to try a little higher here and try to slice across it, and with the proper cut, try to see like midsection, see what will happen, like right in the middle of the Gambeson, not on the edges, and see what it does. It made it through, but it didn't cut into the bottom. It did make it through all the layers, and it barely.
So it did about like the Kurkri.
Yeah, it didn't quite make it through.
Damn, Gambeson's good.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought it would actually go through. Very impressed.
I guess we know now why katanas were made.
You might have got a cut from that because there's enough cut here, but I don't think it would have been a kill.
All right, Threads asked me to try doing a two-handed slice with his Musashi Katana against our Gambeson here, and see what we can do with this and what kind of results it delivers. So here we go.
Make it through well.
Geez, it did.
Cool. Very, very nice. That increases how much force you can get into it to actually press the Gambeson and not allow it to bounce. And with the curvature, I think that caused an excellent cutting ability.
It's crazy how two hands changes everything.
Oh, most certainly. Okay, we're back with the 10th Century Viking sword. A lot of people said that I didn't test it, which we did in this video, on paper. Well, it was slightly dull in the other video. It wasn't as sharp as I wanted it to be. So we're going to go ahead and put it out here again, see how it performs against the bottle. We've already determined that the best cut seems to be a cast style blow, but kind of starting with the tip and allowing the blade to do its thing. So let's see how deep we can get and how well it cuts, but we're out of bottles. This is the same bottle that the katana actually got cut into two-handed. We did it first. I was thinking we had another bottle in reserve. We don't, so we're testing this one here on our Gambeson material. Remember, this is not the strongest Gambeson in the world. It's just stopped the 50-pound bow. Anything higher than that actually went through it. So let's go ahead and test it out here and see what we can do. Oh! Oh! We just got a cut with that big gaping hole in the back.
Yeah, you didn't even have any pressure.
No pressure at all, and we still cut all the way through that much Gambeson. I think it would have kept going if this hadn't pulled over because it already had a slicing.
I think that's, honestly, with the test being against the sword.
That was actually using the...
what I'm saying is the test did not favor, this test did not favor the European sword in any way because the medium was flawed already. It had already been damaged. And yet your sword goes through it like it's nothing, like it's butter.
And slices right through the material. I'd say that's a good...
I think that's a good test of how good, or a testament to how good the European swords are.
And the design of cutting with it against the Gambeson, I think that is like the actual best method that I can tell to cut through it.
Well, we're back from our rampage with our blades today, and I have to say I had a lot of fun. I was very impressed, and I think in some respects I was surprised by some of the results.
Oh, definitely. This one cut way better. My 10th Century, since we sharpened it, that was a good suggestion. Everybody out there who managed to say we didn't prove how sharp it was first, we didn't.
They were absolutely right. They got us.
This actually went through a couple of layers and almost into the third one. I do think the Katana did a little better on the draw cutting, but it's due to the curvature. The curved edge actually allows more of the blade to stay in one spot. As you pull it, you've only got so much blade connecting so many fibers.
That's true.
If you accidentally hit flat with this sword against a large area like across the belly, it's less likely to cut through. Flat's not going to cut anyway, but if you hit, even with a draw, you have way more fibers you're trying to slice through at one time, so it requires more force.
Right.
And more force to compress the fabric so it doesn't bounce, and more force to actually cut each individual fiber. The less contact you have on the fibers and you're focusing all the energy to a smaller section or area, it's more like a thrust, meaning as the blade glides across, it's only cutting a limited amount of fibers, requiring less force, and a smaller area is easier to the force to compress it as well.
Yeah.
So you get less bounce. That's why the cast blow I think works so well with the front of the sword, the third tip of the sword, because it's actually able to compress it all in one motion as it slices through.
Yep.
Whereas the Katana, it's the same kind of idea. One-handed, I sliced it, and yes, I sliced better on a broader area, but it was actually connecting with less fibers than this sword was.
That's right.
In the same type of cut. The difference is, it still didn't make it all the way through to cut the target. I mean, you would have probably had a nick at the most. You would have had a little thin paper cut or something from what it made it through. I was impressed that the actual Gambeson could stop that much of an edge. I mean, with this long a draw across it.
That's true.
Two-handed, though, we had a lot more force, a lot more compression, and with the limited contact to the blade, it was able to cut
And it generated a much more impressive result. So.
Oh, definitely. But even then, if you look at it correctly, where we cut, like if that was the belly, the wide point, you still would have only had an inch or something in the body. It would have went clean through like it would without the... You would have gutted them all the way to the spine, probably, I have no doubt, without the Gambeson.
Right.
The Gambeson still protected our target.
Well, I wasn't real surprised that either of these two swords performed as well as they did. They kind of did what I expected. But the Kurkri is the one.
Oh, you didn't even think it was doing anything for a second there. I noticed that, and all of a sudden we realized it went all the way through. You just didn't see...
Oh, I was getting frustrated with it.
Oh, there was a small rupture at the top. I'm not quite sure what caused that.
I think it just broke on one of our test impacts.
Right, and that was letting pressure out. So I do think if it still had pressure in the bottle, we would have at least got some of this in there. I mean, it wouldn't have been anything that impressive like the actual blades did, where they were deep enough to possibly cause a man to bleed out and die. But it would have been enough that he'd have been bleeding. He would have known
no doubt about it.
It would have went through his Gambeson.
But you know,
that's impressive to me, because that means a heavy coat or something would be nothing.
But it wasn't until after my strikes you start seeing the fabric separating, you start realizing what actually occurred.
I know, that's why I was like, wait. I run over there and I look, and then we realized that the rupture at the top was keeping it it was causing it to allow too much pressure out of the jug. But now the last cut that I did, comparing this sword, because we ran out of bottles or jugs, was against a environment that was not a sealed environment.
Yeah, the medium
I was still able
using.
to go through. So with the better edge, then yes, I'd like to test this again later in some other videos against Gambeson. but with that specific type of cut. Because we already kind of know that if you try that katana type idea and just slice, it doesn't seem to have the same effect.
Right. Well, what really impresses me is
or
that this
flatter edge, it still just like
the most impressive thing about that sword, one-handed, is that it did the job of cutting through the Gambeson, cutting through the bottle, and the bottle had no rigidity because all the pressure had been released from the previous cut.
Right.
So to me, that's the most impressive performance of all the blades today was the
I would like
Viking
to test
sword.
the katana that way as well, against that type of environment where the top of the bottle's been cut into, and you know, and so the flaw is we didn't have any more bottles to work with. So that's why we ended up testing this in that manner. So
otherwise,
we wanted to swap out because we didn't like that little rupture at the top.
Yeah.
You know, after we realized that was there, we thought that wasn't giving it a fair test because we know how difficult Gambeson is to cut through, and even the bottle with it is a little bit tougher than the flesh itself to go into.
Very true, very true. But we did well with the materials we had. I found it to be an enjoyable series of tests. I loved our blade rampage today, and I hope all of you did too. And if you did like this video, be sure to like us, give us a thumbs up. Also, make sure that you subscribe to our channel. That's YouTube channel, Thrand. Leave your comments below in the comments thread. As we said before, though, we are already aware of a lot of the issues with the lack of materials and things like that. So, you know, when you comment, keep things like that in mind. Also, be sure to find our like page on Facebook. That's the Thrand and Eldgrim's Well of Remembrance. Also, you can ask to join our closed group. That's the Thrand YouTube Boat Crew, where you can get some exclusive content like video clips and set stills. Also, you can talk one-on-one with Thrand and I on all things anachronistic, living history, armoring, so on and so forth. And if we don't know anything about it, we certainly have a lot of people on the crew that'll be willing to help you out and befriend you on all those things. Also, don't forget to donate to us at www.patreon.com/Thrand. We also have a PayPal account. They can get a hold of us through PayPal at your Yahoo email address. Is that right?
Yes, it's thrand@yahoo.com. That's also the PayPal ID. But be sure and send me an email telling us what you'd like us to do with the money, the funds.
That's right, yeah. You just tell us to test or what you want us to invest in, and we'll do our best to make that happen. Thank you once again for watching our videos, guys, and join us again for another rampage of tests on YouTube channel Thrand. Thanks again and farewell.
Farewell.